stars of the news. Bandits kill 5 persons in fresh attack on Otobi community in Otsuko local government area of Benue State. 2 Rivers lawmakers ask colleagues to halt impeachment move against Governor Mubarak. On the foreign scene, President Trump imposes 25% tariff on nations doing business with Iran. Good afternoon, welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alawe. Bandits have reportedly killed 5 persons in a fresh attack on the Otobi community in Otsuko local government area of Benue State. Among the victims is a House of Assembly candidate for Otsuko Akpa State constituency on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the 2019 general elections. Igabe Ochi. The attack, which happened at about 1:30 a.m. this morning, followed a Sunday night kidnapping attempt at Eku Ora Odaba in Otobi, called by the community volunteers guards. Local sources confirmed that the community has been singled out by suspected herdsmen for attacks following the killings of 13 persons on April 15, 2025, and another attack that claimed 3 more lives in May 2025. However, Benue State Police Command is yet to react to the incident. For the lawmaker representing Otsuko Akpa State constituency, Kennedy Angbo, while speaking with newsmen, lamented the persistent attacks on his constituency. In the meantime, the Kaduna State Police Command says it has successfully repelled an attack by armed bandits in the Giwa local government area of the state, killing 2 suspects and recovering firearms. The operation, it said, followed credible intelligence of an impending attack on Idisu village, Idisu ward of Bayankogi, according to the spokesman of the State Police Command, DSP Mansur Hassan. Intelligence reveals that the bandits, led by a notorious kingpin identified as Kanchala Sanisu Bajira, were mobilizing to invade the community after residents failed to pay an illegal levy imposed on them. It disclosed that acting on the information, the State's Commissioner of Police directed operatives of the anti-kidnapping units working in collaboration with members of the Civilian Joint Task Force to move to the area. On arrival, the operatives encountered the bandits, who had laid an ambush, immediately engaged the security team in a gondole. The police, however, overpowered the attackers, neutralizing 2 of them, while others fled into the surrounding bushes. Down south, as part of ongoing security assessment and strategic repositioning in Akoma, in Esan West in Edo State, the State Commissioner of Police Monday Agbonika has ordered the reorganization of the Akoma division. This was contained in a statement this morning by the command spokesperson Eno Okwedem. The state police boss also approved the posting of CSP Tomofe Nwabweze to assume office as the new DPO with immediate effect. The crisis in Akoma Esan West local government area began on Saturday when a protest by residents over rising insecurity, including kidnappings and the killing of a youth on Friday night, turned violent. Hoodlums were said to have hijacked the protest and attacked traders at the livestock market, killing goats and beating their cows, scenes which were captured in a viral video. They also attacked and vandalized the palace of the Onoje of Akoma, Zanki Anthony Abumere II, an act condemned by Governor Monday Okpelo. Turning to politics, 2 Rivers lawmakers have appealed for leniency over the planned impeachment of Governor Simlai Fubara and his deputy, Professor Nma Odu. At a press briefing in Port Harcourt on Monday, the House Minority Leader Sylvanus Nwankwo and the lawmaker from Degema Peter Abe cited interventions by leaders and constituents and asked that the process be stalled. They said that after many calls from elders and leaders, both within and outside the state, they are begging their colleagues to reconsider the steps and see how the matter can be resolved amicably. Last Thursday, Fubara and Odu were said to have been served an impeachment notice over alleged gross misconduct. The majority leader, Major Jack, presented a notice signed by 26 lawmakers outlining multiple allegations of gross misconduct against the governor. A separate notice was also read against the deputy governor for allegedly convening in unconstitutional expenditures. The development marks a renewed escalation of the protracted political crisis in Rivers State, stemming from the fallout between Governor Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, and now the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
We are here this morning to appeal to the conscience of our fellow colleagues, having listened to so many pleas, calls from our elders and leaders, both within and outside the state, begging for leniency. We are begging, calling our colleagues to reconsider our step and see how this matter can be resolved amicably, even though the governor and the deputy governor has infringed on the Constitution.
We are human beings, and we as people, as members of the 10th Assembly, we want to plead with our colleagues to please reconsider. This, we have received calls from leaders, from people in River State, outside River State, and we see that you don't raise the axe and swing it as you raise it. So we plead with our colleagues to reconsider, to please reconsider, provided the governor too has a role to play. He too must make sure he doesn't infringe furthermore on the Constitution.
And now moving up north, security has been tightened at the Kano State Government House amid speculation of Governor Abba Yusuf's planned defection. At the main entrance, combined security personnel drawn from the Nigeria Police Force and the Department of State Services (DSS) were stationed on Monday at strategic locations. Access to the Government House was subjected to strict identification procedures by operatives. Security checks were also intensified, with access subjected to strict identification procedures by operatives. The heightened tension comes with the growing speculation about a disagreement between Governor Abba Yusuf and his political mentor, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, who is the leader of the new Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), as opposed to Yusuf's alleged plan to defect to the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC), warning that such a move will destabilize the NNPP and undermine the Kwankwasia movement. Elsewhere, latest electricity sector data released by the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has spotlighted how 33 people lost their lives and 33 sustained various degrees of injuries in power-related accidents across the country. According to the 2025 Q3 report, a total of 57 power-related accidents were reported nationwide. The accidents were spread across several distribution zones, with Ikeja and Kano electricity distribution areas recording the highest number of incidents during the quarter. Both zones reported 10 accidents each. Ikeja also recorded 6 injuries and 4 deaths, while Kano posted 6 deaths and 4 injuries. While Abuja, Jos, Aba, Port Harcourt, Enugu, and Yola recorded varying levels of incidents. Eko, Kaduna, and the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) also featured prominently in many of the cases. Accidents resulted in either severe injuries or fatalities, or both. The report also noted that the TCN recorded 4 cases of damage to property and infrastructure arising from explosions, fire outbreaks, or acts of vandalism during the quarter. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this break. Nimbex injections over safety concerns. In a statement via X on Monday, the regulatory agency said the affected products were manufactured by Aspen Pharmacare Asia Limited, saying the recall followed safety concerns flagged by the Hong Kong Department of Health. NAFDAC also said one batch of Mivacron injection 0.2% and 5 batches of Nimbex injection 2 mg are affected by the recall. It said investigations revealed deficiencies in the manufacturer's manual visual inspection process, adding that not all glass particles in the ampoules were likely detected, prompting a voluntary market recall. The injections containing mivacurium and cicaterium are prescriptions medicine used as adjuncts to general anesthesia. In a development, NAFDAC reassured Nigerians that all nasal infant formula approved for sale in Nigeria are safe. Now, talking business, the federal government has met with top officials of a global professional services firm, KPMG, to address concerns and disagreements arising from the implementation of Nigeria's new tax laws. The meeting, which took place in Abuja on Monday, followed intense debate within the country's business and professional community over the implications of the new tax reform framework. KPMG Nigeria, in a report, had expressed concerns over some aspects of the laws, including the taxation of shares, dividend treatment, non-resident obligations, and foreign exchange deductions, and warned that these could affect businesses and taxpayers. Following the spotlight on the laws by KPMG, chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, defended the Nigeria Tax Act and clarified the policy intent, stating that KPMG did not understand the reform. However, in an update, the executive chairman of the National Revenue Service, NRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, during the meeting clarified some areas of concern in the new act, while the KPMG team noted that their earlier opinion on the new tax law had been misconstrued and expressed regret over the misunderstanding. It was said to have sought for the clarity on the provisions of the laws. On the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has said any country that does business with Iran will face a tariff rate of 25% on any trade with the U.S. As Washington weighs a response to the protest in Iran, its biggest anti-government demonstration in years. Trump, in a post on Truth Social on Monday, said the tariff was effective immediately on any and all business being done with the U.S., adding that the order was final and conclusive. Iran, a member of the OPEC oil-producing group, has been heavily sanctioned by Washington for years. It exports much of its oil to China, with Turkey, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates and India among its other top trading partners. There was no official documentation from the White House of the policy on its website, nor for information about the legal authority Trump would use to impose the tariffs, or whether they would be aimed at all Iran's trading partners. The Chinese embassy in Washington criticized President Trump's approach, saying China will take all necessary measures to safeguard its interests and oppose any illicit unilateral sanctions and long-arm jurisdiction. Tehran said it was keeping communication channels with Washington open as Trump considered how to respond to the situation in Iran, which has posed one of the greatest tests of clerical rule in the country since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. In Europe, French farmers drove tractors into Paris on Tuesday for the second time in a week to protest against an EU-Mercosur trade deal they said threatens local agriculture by creating unfair competition with cheaper South American imports. Farmers in France, the European Union's largest agricultural producers, and other member states have been protesting for months over the EU Mercosur coarser deal, and numerous local grievances. Today's demonstration was organized by the FNSEA, which is one of the France's largest farm unions, a separate farmers union